listening to Uncle Doug this morning, and Josie, my trusty canine companion, co-producer, is right here with me, but also with me. Let's see, just a minute. But also with me this morning is Andy Nesmith from the Incident Command Team that's working with the Middle Fork Complex Fire, and we have an opportunity to talk to them and hear from them about things going on the fire, and we'll have a chance. Anyway, so Andy, would you tell us who you are and what you're here for?
So, Andy Nesmith, I am the Public Information Officer for the Middle Fork Complex Fire, working with Great Basin Team 5. I'm from Florida, out here working with the team, and been doing this for about 22 to 23 years.
Good. Thank you for coming in this morning. I find these interviews a great opportunity to get a little deeper sense of what's going on in the fire. We saw a lot of smoke yesterday. I mean, from our house, pretty close to where you're staying. In fact, I really like that Facebook post. Your meteorologist had those plumes and had them labeled, because we'd spent part of the day trying to figure out where all that stuff was. So what happened yesterday?
Biggest thing yesterday was the inversion lifted, which allowed that smoke to pick out, and that's what's been holding a lot of the fire activity down. And when that lifted, our fire activity rose with it. Our fire here, the Middle Fork Complex, grew roughly 350 acres yesterday, so not a whole lot of growth on ours, but a lot of the surrounding fires really pushed their containment lines and had a lot of growth out there. We're not sure exactly what that growth was, but that was a lot of the smoke you were seeing yesterday was coming from those bigger fires on the outside from ours.
So that big lava fire over just to the east, and then west. Sorry, I get turned around. And particularly, we've been following, I think it's the goat fire that's north and west of the Silver Springs plunge.
Yep.
Talking to those people, do you know if it moved?
It did have some growth yesterday. We were not able to get an IR flight last night, an infrared flight on it, so we're not exactly sure what that growth was. But we know there was some movement up in that area, as well as on the Bulldog. On the northeast section of that fire was probably where the most of our growth was at, and then a little bit in between where the Bulldog and the Nelly are closest.
Right, closer. And so through the day, will we be learning and get a better sense of how all that's fitting together and coming together?
Absolutely, because we can get air ops up today and get a better version of what's out there and get eyes above it and possibly get an IR flight today. We'll have a great chance to get a better perspective on exactly what our growth was and what the footprint of that fire is looking like.
And so, how many acres did the fire grow? That you've already answered that question, about 350 acres, and we don't know, but we had must have had some pretty good growth on the lava fire and maybe the goat.
They did have some growth, but we're not exactly sure where yet. They're still getting their feet under them from yesterday, from when it blew up on them. So we're waiting to kind of see what that is. But our complex right now is sitting at 58,770 acres, and we're still sitting at 30% completion.
And did the Bulldog and Nelly fires come together there?
Not quite. They're getting close. There's some areas in between there, but they have not come together yet.
Yeah. Is that just a curiosity, or are there issues, or are there benefits, or why are we paying attention to that?
Well, because they're going to feed off of each other, they'll start pulling together. And I'm not very familiar with the terrain out there. A lot of it depends on whether it's down in a valley or if it's coming up a mountaintop. But they will draw off of each other and actually have bigger flame lengths out there if they're pulling against each other. And then to do that, we've got our contingency lines south of there, trying to keep it from turning and coming back west towards the area. So we've got our team and the previous teams have put a lot of contingency lines ahead of that to keep that from coming back this way.
So the fire intensity could increase in that area when they do come together.
It could.
And you're not sure. We can't be sure what's going to happen.
Right. We'll get a better eyes on it today when we can get with ops and they've had a chance to get out in the field and see exactly what's out there.
Yeah. So with that flare up, have plans changed on the Middle Fork complex that you know of?
Our plan, we're still doing the same thing we've been doing. The contingency lines and the work we've done right now seem to be holding. But we change plans every day, or not plans, but we monitor every day, and so we adapt to what the conditions are for that day.
Yeah. Good. So is there anything else you want to share with the community?
Biggest thing is just be mindful, just be ready. I mean, we have contingency lines in place and we're doing everything we can, but fire's natural. It's going to do what it's going to do. We can only prepare for it. So I'd say just keep your head on a swivel and be prepared.
In our preparation, if we've been working on having defensive space around our homes and also everything's collected in case we do have to leave.
Yeah, have things collected, be ready, have your go bag ready to go. And one of the things I like to tell people is put a lot of your stuff on a thumb drive. It's something you can leave in your glove box. It's always there with you. If you do forget something, it's sitting there and you already have it ready to go.
That's a thumb drive. That's something I hadn't thought of. That's a good idea. All right. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in and talking to our community this morning, and appreciate the great work that gives us confidence and hope here in Crouch and Garden Valley that this fire will be contained eventually. Well, it's contained sufficiently now, and we're grateful for that.
Correct.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
We'll get back to music with who we're going to get.